and in the city. His name we pray.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. The judge is here.
You don't think they're small.
Good afternoon. We ask the clerk to call the roll.
Davis. St. Columbia. Dr. Miller. Harris. Etherly. Maxine Miller. Here. Have 5 present and 1 absent.
Okay. The Kipsters, can you all give me just a minute? We got some out of town guests. I'm gonna let them go first and then I'll come back to you all if that's fine.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ladies. We're gonna have Watershed grant. Representative will address this grant. I think it's Mr. Bateman and Kevin Hunt, other members.
Good evening. I'm Frank Bateman with the Arkansas Black Mayors Association. I'm the executive director. And we have and this is Kevin Hunt. He's the assistant director and program manager. We have this, the Watershed program. I think Mayor Franklin and Attorney Valley has placed that information in front of you. And it's about the Watershed, which is a flooding and drainage program that we received monies to facilitate the grant. We signed an agreement with them, and the mayor, the past mayor, actually signed the letter, and that was the application to move forward. And we received the funding, and so we need to have an agreement signed with the city so we can continue to move forward with working on the flooding and drainage here in Phillips County. I think it's, if you've seen the documents, it says Long Lake, Little B Bayou project, and then the Lick Creek, Big Creek project. So it encompasses the county of Phillips County. And we'll be coming back out with with engineers, we'll hire engineers, and they will come out and we will be able to do a town hall around flooding and drainage here in the communities. But that's the gist of it. We do need a signed document to continue to execute this project. With me is I'll let him introduce himself.
Thank you. Thank you, Council. My name is Randy Childress, and I'm with the Natural Resources Conservation Service. I'm Assistant State Conservation Engineer for our Watershed Operations Program. So I'm just here to answer any questions you might have. We've worked really hard with the Black Mayors Association over the last year to secure these funds for 19 projects in Arkansas. And so we're really proud of it. We're ready to get to work on it. Like I said, our agreement is with the Arkansas Black Mayors Association, and then the association will go into agreement with the city so that we can execute and implement the project. So with that, I have Bill Kincaid with me, who's our lead planning conservation planner on our watershed planning staff. And then said we've already reached out and are starting to solicit for services to do this work. So we're really proud to be in Helena and West Helena, and proud to have this money coming y'all's way. Mayor.
Well, Mr. Childress, for the sake of the listening audience, you explain exactly what is a watershed project so that people understand.
Okay, so we identified when the Black Mayors Association identified some of their membership cities that were having and experiencing flooding and needed some prevention and some protection from that. Helena, West Helena was one of the 19, or there's 25 some odd projects in Arkansas that were proposed. And so we identified the watersheds that contain that the city of West Helena and Helena is contained in. So these are big areas. It's not just the city limits, it's areas outside the city limits because we have to find places and outlets to take water and get it out of the city. So the watershed, when we talk about watershed projects, those are the areas that surround Helena and West Helena.
And can you also tell the council how many dollars are coming to Helena, West Helena?
Bill, we were sitting somewhere around 11 million. So that's the planning, which takes about 18 months to 2 years. We've got it all scheduled out in our agreement with ABMA. There's the planning phase, then there's the design phase, and then there's the construction phase. So all total, those are somewhere around $11 million.
And the primary purpose is to relieve flooding issues throughout the area that you've identified.
Yes, sir. So we'll write these, so these watershed plans will be developed. They'll be approved by our chief in Washington, DC. That allows additional federal funds to go towards those projects and move them through the phases in that manner.
And you all will have a direct impact about what cities and streets in y'all area to say it floods up my grandmother's house in my area. So you all, when them town hall meetings that we have, it's gonna be about you all to tell the engineers and us, like my street, this street, this street, this street, so we can put together a plan to remove that water out of the city. And then also that West Helena will also impact other cities in this county. I don't know if it's 10, 12, or how many county cities in Phillips County, but it also will impact them. I mean, it's gonna help move that water out to those bayous and everything. So it's really, you all gonna have a really strong input with the engineers to say, this street, this street, this street, this street is where the water's flooded.
So the very first part of this planning stage is public meetings and scoping. And that's where you got to get all the players and stakeholders at the table that have concerns, and we can identify those and take it down that road.
One other question for the sake of public. These watershed projects typically get done in city limits.
They're not. This is kind of a strange, these funds came through us through the bipartisan infrastructure act or bill. And so there were $500 million nationwide set aside for addressing Western drought, tribal lands, and historically underserved communities and socially disadvantaged communities. So Lee County, St. Francis County, Phillips County, those were identified. And so those were where some of the proposals came from. Historically, we work in the ag land. We're the U.S. Department of Agriculture. We normally work in the cropland and ag landscape. But this is new. And so we're excited about being able to help people in these communities where they just need some help in flooding. So this is, if we stay with flood prevention, it's 100% federally funded. There are other purposes with this program: recreation, water supply. There are some other purposes, but they have some cost share type. It may be 75% on me, 25% on the city. But we're going to stick with flood prevention and flood protection, and that puts me at 100% payout.
That would mean the city would pay $0.
Nothing to you.
So, council, in your package, you will provide a resolution which authorizes the mayor to enter into contracts, on behalf of City of Helena, West Helena, to participate in the watershed prevention operations program. And if you all would adopt that tonight, then that's the beginning phase of moving forward with us having a relationship with the Arkansas Black Mayors Association and their natural resources to implement this on behalf of the city.
I can give you a copy of the resolution. It was in the back of the packet that I emailed to your home.
Mr.
Are
Valley.
you with the federal, or are you with the federal government,
Federal, yes, sir. U.S. Department of Ag,
Department of Agriculture?
yes, sir.
And where is your office?
In Little Rock.
Little Rock?
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you've looked at and studied the problems of Helena and this area, because my family came here in 1892. And this levee wasn't here, and of course, the city flooded back then. From the levee, but we put the levee there, and then all the water from the hills come into this community.
Yes, sir.
Floods the downtown area. We have heavy rain.
Yes, sir. We're gonna study it
Y'all
hard.
studied all that?
Yes, sir. Mr. Valley, we did go back and look, and it's 16 million. Let me correct that. 16 million.
But this fund, this comes through who, Mr. Bateman?
What'd you say?
This is funded through who?
It comes, the agreement is with the Arkansas Black Mayors Association.
Say it a little louder, because I don't think they heard you.
It's with the agreement is with the Arkansas Black Mayors Association, and then we will navigate the funding to the cities. Design and construction is on the back end of it, which of course, the design and construction, when we get to that point, will cost quite a bit of money. But we'll be leading the charge. There's nothing that really the city has to do. We are going to keep you engaged on like the town hall meeting, and we also will have the mayor involved in conversations around the engineers.
What was that resolution?
Resolution number 4, 2023, is that right, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
Move to adopt resolution number 4.
Mr. Etheridge,
Second that motion.
Mr. Etheridge moves to adopt resolution number 4, Mr. St. Columbia second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. St. Columbia,
Yes.
Ms. Harris, Dr. Miller.
I'm not sure.
Okay, Ms. Davis.
Yes.
Ms. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Etherly.
Yes.
Okay, big shit.
Thank you all. We'll get this agreement sent back to you all. Thank you for coming. Y'all have anything else for us?
No.
So we got
Thank you all for being here.
everything.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Kip Delta students, Mrs. Harper Jefferson, Ms. Aaliyah Johnson will present on stamp out gun violence. Ladies, y'all can come to the podium right here.
Good evening. Thanks for granting me the opportunity to speak to you on tonight. My name is Harper Jefferson, and I am the morning news anchor for the 1020 KDELA AM announcement team. Much gratitude to you, Mayor Franklin. You are so appreciated for taking our time during your busy schedules to meet with most of our team back in February of this year. Our campus is housed at the historic Beechcrest School on Plaza Street. We represent Kip Delta's Elementary Literacy Academy, where we are always on our own personal roads from smart to intelligent. I have been tasked with sharing the backstory from where our request sprang. One day, we were doing our research for an upcoming script. It was at that time I found out about the 1963 Children's March in Birmingham, Alabama. This inspired me to ask Dr. Price, our sponsor, if we could do a march. I told Dr. Price that I wanted to do a march to raise awareness about how the gun violence in our town is affecting us kids. You see, I hear gunshots in my neighborhood a lot. But what you don't know is I have a baby sister to protect. When I hear those gunshots, though, I feel so powerless. It makes me scared and I cry. We have to get on the floor or under our beds. Sometimes the gunshots are right near my backyard. I feel that if us kids march, we will be able to let the adults know that all of us are stressing out and we are scared. And then that maybe, just maybe, they will decide to do something about it that will work. We hope that this march wake the adults up. We need your support, but we also deserve a voice. But most of all, we want to restore our town back to the glory days that Dr. Price be telling us about. I close with this. A child with a dream is a child with a future. I can't have a future that will achieve my dreams with all of this shooting. I mean, I'm a nervous wreck. Thanks so much for your time.
Good evening. I would also like to thank you for granting me the opportunity to speak to you on tonight. My name is Aaliyah Jones, and I am the sportscaster for the 1020 KDELA AM announcement team. Thanks also to our school director, Ms. LaToya Jones, and for Dr. Price, our sponsor of our radio program. Dr. Seuss once said, "No one can give you wisdom. You must discover it for yourself on your journey through life, which no one can take for you." Our mantra is that we are on the road from smart to intelligent. Well, I want to take it a step further and work on wisdom. When we research and discuss what is happening in our world for our daily announcements, it makes me wonder, what can I do? I want to be able to say, I did that I made my mark. This isn't coming from a place of selfishness. Oh no, not at all. I sit back and listen to what this town was, and I know we can bounce back. I feel it in my bones, y'all. We are still in our pre-planning stage, but this is what we have planned so far. First, of course, we will keep praying, and one of our teammates from our campus will lead us in prayer on that day. Next, we plan to ask our KDELA Mixed Voices Choir to sing. We want to sing those civil rights freedom songs of nonviolence. Us kids have rights too, don't you know? We would also like to have our police department present for security. We plan to ask our other teammates on our campus to suggest ideas for the title of our march. The selection of the title will then be put to a campus-wide vote. Yes, at KDELA, we know the importance and the power of having the right to vote. Each grade level will have their own banner and march with us. We're going to make signs, say speeches, and get t-shirts made. We would like to march right down the middle of Cherry Street and use the pavilion there to make our speeches and sing our songs. We have over 100 other KIPsters at our campus who want to volunteer and help make the behind-the-scenes planning and prep happen. We just need to know from you what our next steps are. You know what I mean? If we have your approval and if we need permits and such, thanks for your time. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We're fighting against gun violence. We shall not be moved. Fighting against gun violence. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. Fighting for other children. We shall not be moved. We're fighting for other children. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. Black and white together, we shall not be moved. Black and white together, we shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We pray that you will join us, but we shall not be moved. We pray that you will join us, but we shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved.
Thank you.
Mr. Leah, what day would you all like to have your event? Dr. Price? If you have a date, we can get it started right now today and just tell us what day. We can go ahead and approve this tonight. Cause we got the police chief here and I'm pretty sure the other department heads will say yes, so.
Open, well, I think we're taking a research lesson in district in New York and DC. The second we can do, so the first Saturday in June, the woman, that would be the day. We can look into, we can get an alternative day.
So we're gonna let them have their Stamp Out Gun Violence Day. What's the first Saturday in June?
Yeah.
So June 3rd, is that fine?
Yes.
Hours, what time you're gonna, time? So the police chief can, what time, Mr. Price?
We'd like to begin at 8 a.m.
To 8 to what time?
Noon.
8 to noon. Chief, is that a problem? Okay, can I get a motion in a second, sir?
We should not.
You're welcome.
But want these young people to know that I heard you all about the gun violence. And I'm making a commitment that we're going to work on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I get a motion from the body?
I'll make that motion.
Dr. Miller made the motion to, Ms. Davis seconded the motion to Stamp Out Gun Violence Day for Kip Delta Public School, June 3rd, 2023. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Sarah? Yes. Ms. Davis? Yes. Mr. Anthony?
Yes.
Ms. Miller? Yes. Mr. St. Columbia?
Yes.
Dr. Miller?
Yes.
6 yes.
Now, Dr. Price, I'm gonna bring you an event permit to fill out, but you already got it approved, so I'm just gonna want you so we can have it on file for you.
Thank you.
So, matter of fact, so if I can, Mr. Valley, would you? Farmers, will you take your farmers market?
The mayor, the next on the agenda is the farmers market. We have two representatives from the Chamber of Commerce here to discuss the farmers market. We thank Kip Delta for their presentation.
Good afternoon. My name is Ron Dowda, and I'm one of the board members of the Clubs County Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to introduce also here is Thomas Jackson and Harvey Williams. Harvey carries the big stick. He's our acting board member that is guiding us, guiding the Phillips County Chamber to a new year and a new board. Thomas is very involved in writing the checks and sending the email out, distribution, and notifying, looking for new members. But I'm here to introduce a program that we consider it a major program for the city and for the county, and that's to bring back the farmers market. It's Helena Farmers Market. You will start seeing these yard signs around town and announcing the farmers market. And I'd also like to distribute, these are flyers for your windows. Please, if you will, take 2 each and take them to work, distribute them around. It's the more that we can get the word out, the better event this will be. We're gonna have the first and third Saturday of June, July, and August. And the second and fourth Saturday of September and October. We had to change the dates in September and October because of the events that's already scheduled around the stage area. We really need farmers. We've got a lot of people that are interested in coming to this and seeing what crops and items they're for selling. But we need the farmers really bad. We need youth, small family gardens, anyone who produces fruits, vegetables. In fact, if you have chickens and want to sell your eggs, that's a possibility. If you make jellies, jams, that's a possibility. We're even going to open this up for if you have certain hobbies that you do, crafts, handmade. We want this to be all hand produced, not buying from somewhere else and bringing to sell. This promotes a lot of things and a lot of activities for the city. I'd like to read you a couple of things. One of any plan, you need to have a purpose. And I feel that it's very important to give you a feeling of purpose that we think a farmer's market should have. The mission, the West Helena Farmers Market brings people together to celebrate the unique food and culture of downtown Helena and the farms that sustain it. This provides access to fresh food for all of our community, champion small farmers, encourage youth farming, artisans, and foster a thriving and local economy. And the purpose is to reestablish the Helena-West Helena Farmers Market is a renewal of three purposes. They are the mercantile purpose, the social purpose, and the civic purpose. I've gotten permission with Deborah Smith to use the area around the stage. It's a flat area. It's easy to get around. If you're physically challenged, it's easy to get around. The parking is you can park along Cherry Street. The stage management is providing electricity, and we can use the restrooms across the street at the Culture Center, which is ADA approved. There is not a plan to use the stage itself simply because the concern of people walking up and down the steps. Plus, it's very high up. What we can use the stage itself is to have youth like this come and sing. And there is a plan to talk to the choirs around the schools. If they want to come and have their students do some practical experience in singing in front of public, that's a possibility. But the main purpose is to bring back the farmers market. And it's not just Helena-West Helena. There'll be these street signs will be in Elaine, Lakeview, Marble, and Walnut Corner, Barton. Any questions?
This sounds like a great idea. Now, and that we've already given Kip the 3rd of June. Is that correct? Then
Yeah.
what do we need to do?
Oh, I would, I
Switch
wish
it over?
I wish they had stayed around. I would have really liked to talk to them.
Can you
Uh,
collaborate and do that together?
Yeah, I'd love for them to come and sing up on the stage, yeah. There's, again, there's electricity up on the stage for microphones, for speakers. I can give you my phone number so that they can call me directly. 210-378-1204. I guess that went out on the air too. But yes, please have them get in touch with me. I would, that would be great. Yeah, thank you.
That'd be great.
Yeah, oh, yeah. This is a community event. It's not, if you go to areas in towns where the farmers markets cover blocks and blocks of different vendors and different things to sell, I would like the community to be involved in this, not just someone who wants to sell. If they're singers or the youth involved with the rodeo club are going to be face painting. This is family affair. It's from 10 to 3 those days. And it's the dates and schedules are on the flyer that I just gave you.
Also, we put this up on the city's website so people can see this. So we can share with people who visit the city website. They can also have access to this and know what is going on the first and third Saturday of each month until October. So
Excellent. Like I say, the more we can create the excitement, because this is, we want this to work. I know from times before it kind of fizzled out, but a lot of people are excited about this. And the worst thing we can do is not have people to sell first Saturday in June or no activities. So if there's anything that y'all can think of, please get in touch with me. Let's make this work. This is a city affair.
And also, I asked the police chief to patrol downtown those days so people can feel safe getting out. We're trying to change the environment of Helena-West. So I appreciate you all for getting this together because we are working to change the narrative of our community because we want people to come and visit our community, not run from our community. This is a new day and time and want people to feel safe here. So the police chief will be out there some of the members of the police department will be out there to assist you all to help.
I met with Sandy and she said just that. And that I'll be giving the police departments, county and city, these flyers and inviting them to come by. They'll put some trash dumpster or trash bins there for us. Yeah, this a lot of cooperation with this. This will be a good event. I feel like we're excited about it. There'll be more things that the city council is going to be doing. This isn't the only thing, and we want the city council to be very active like it used to be, even more so. We've got a lot of new members. Well, everybody except Thomas. He's leading us from the good points of the way it was before, and so. A lot of new ideas, a lot of new members on the board.
For the farmers market, or are you still looking for people?
I've got 2 reserves so far.
Okay.
But this originally was thought to start in May. Well, the farmers that contacted me said, I'm not going to have anything to sell in May. So that's the reason the tan and the black met us here in June to change the date. This week we plan on putting these yard signs around Walmart. I'm going to talk to the highway department to see where a safe place to put them, so they're not pulling them up. They'll move them. There'll be a couple, of course, at the stage area. But that's another thing I'd like to ask you. Where would you suggest these street signs be placed? Besides the Walmart area?
Right on the corner of. I think, just give me some, and I'll put them out for you. I'll make sure people see it.
Again,
I'll
if
put
you
them out.
call, if I don't answer when you call, leave a message.
Or just drop some off by City Hall and I'll put them out for you.
Okay,
I got time on the weekends.
I've got 2 more in the truck.
Okay,
I can give all 3. I can
Um,
leave all 3 here with y'all.
I'll take it. I'll put them out.
That's great. That's great. Any other questions? If you come up with any ideas, please call. Again, we're looking for farmers. I'd really like to have youth involved in this. What better education can you give a young person? Here, plant a tomato plant. Let's watch it grow, and then let's go sell. That's a complete business for a young farmer. So I'd really like to have youth involved. Any questions for me, Thomas? Okay. Well, thank you for letting me come. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And I'll help with what I can do. I'll get it on my time and.
All right, you've committed.
For the next 4 years.
Okay, good. I will bring the other 2 that
Yes,
I have in the truck.
Mhm.
And where would you like for me to leave them?
You can sit right there. I'll just grab them and take them in my office.
Right here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All
And
right, good, good.
you'll see them put out.
All right, good. Thank you. Thank you for your help.
Yes, sir. Thank you all. Keep up the good work. Next on the agenda, Mr. Mark Jackson of Central Arkansas Concrete regarding claims submitted to the council by Mrs. Mayweather and Mrs. Hudson. Mr. Hudson, I'm sorry, Mr. Hudson. I think about it.
I know there's a city lot here in Helena. I don't know who owns that or who manages that, but if there's a location in town where a city park somewhere where the local kids can grow fruits and vegetables or I'm sure we can get some donations of seeds.
A community garden.
Yeah, a community garden. Yeah.
We'll find a spot where I get the guys working and clean it off and see if the schools will want to do it.
That'd be great.
We can get somebody to donate to plow them for us, or me and this chief of staff, we always on the tractor, so we'll plow it up.
That'd be great. Yes, thank you.
So I'll let Mr. Williams or Mr. Jackson, or when we'll find you a spot, and me and the chief of staff be happy to plow it up.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm with Central Arkansas Contractors. I reviewed video footage of your last meeting. Whereas Mr. Hudson, who I spoke with back there a few minutes ago, and Ms. Mayweather came to the meeting and alleged that Central Arkansas Contractors had destroyed fences and towed trees down and destroyed car sheds and et cetera. And some of the things that Mr. Hutchinson alleged, I take difference to it. So I want to enter my rebuttal into the record. I'll let the city decide what they want to do with their money. If they want to give it to them, that's fine. But I want to give them money, give your money away, not based on anything I done. Mr. Hudson testified before you guys last time that he had made a substantial inquiry and that he found no proof of insurance, no contractor's license, and no bond. And I will give you copies of all that now and ask that you, after you review it, give it to Ms. Sandy Ramsey for permanent to be permanently filed in the record. In so doing, I'd like to make a note that making a claim against the entity on its face does not establish a prima facie case of entitlement. So you have to prove the claim. This is, you review that, pass it around to the council, and then give it to this grant to provide front of the record for whatever the city chooses. I received a call on about May the 24th. I received a call to come to Ms. Mayweather's house to look at some tree removal that the city may want to have done. I appeared on that site on May the 24th at 1:52 p.m. It's our practice. We've been doing this for over 4 decades. And it's our practice to always video record the scene and to make records and photos of the scene prior to any work. It's also our practice to record the scene during the process of the work. When I appeared at Ms. Mayweather's house on May the 24th at 1:52 p.m., and this claim about the fence was something that I learned for the first time at your last city council meeting. Bruce and I had been engaged in conversations with the city officials about what his issues were on multiple occasions. When I appeared in Ms. Mayweather's house, and I'll pass these pictures around, you'll be able to see what I saw when I arrived at her house. Now, these are pictures, but I also have video footage of what I saw when I arrived at her house. And the first picture is going to be her front gate. And her front gate, it appears to be cosmetically fine. But I'm gonna ask you to pass these pictures around. However you see, whatever you see in these pictures, what I saw on the day of May 24th, this is what I saw, is what you're gonna do. Okay? And the time that I was there is documented in the picture. How do I know that those times are right? Because they're in my cell phone. The cell phone documents the time.
Mr. Jackson, could I ask a question?
Sure.
You were employed by the city to remove the trees that were in Ms. Mayweather's yard, is that correct?
Well, the thing about it was I met Mr. Smith at Ms. Mayweather's house. Ms. Mayweather was actually the one who was pointing out the trees that needed to be removed on Mr. Hudson's side of the fence. I was asked to meet. The meeting was scheduled to take place at her house in her backyard.
Mr. Jackson, what Smith are we referring to?
Do
What Smith are you referring to?
Mr. Jarvis Smith was representing the city at that time.
Jarvis.
Right.
The human resource officer, right?
I don't know what his title was, but I talked to both him and the mayor about the work.
So the answer was to Columbia question, you were contracted by Mayor Smith and Jarvis Smith to do work to cut those trees, is that correct?
Correct. Correct.
And the trees were in what yard?
The trees were actually on Mr. Hudson's side of the fence, but we met on her side of the fence. For some reason, she is actually, Ms. Mayweather is actually one who pointed out, this is what I need done. And I was asked to move the trees from the far east corner to the far west corner on the north side of the fence, which would have been on Mr. Hudson's side of the fence.
The trees were in Ms. Mayweather's yard?
No.
No.
No. The trees that was pointed out to me was, and if you look at the photos, you can see the photos, those pictures were taken from the south side of the fence facing the north, which is Mr. Hudson's property, but we met in Ms. Mayweather's yard. Ms. Mayweather's the one who took the lead saying, this fence, this fence, this fence, this tree here, here should go. So may I continue?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't need it. I mean, you just. So That was on about the 24th.
If I may interrupt, because, Mr. Turner, you're handing out the bonding that he has provided. Go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
The bond is a statutory, let me make this observation about the bond. The bond is the state of Arkansas statutory requirement to do business in the state of Arkansas. It is not a performance or payment bond. Bonds, payment and performance bonds are job specific. There were no payment or bond or a performance bond provided to the city or to Mr. Hudson. So having said that, over the next several days, because it's our practice not to ever go on private property without permission. Over the next several days, I tried to find Mr. Hudson. I went by his house and went by his house. Mr. Smith assured me that he had gotten permission for me to go in the backyard. On the morning of June the 6th, well, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. On May the 26th, I went to Mr. Hudson's backyard to do a preliminary assessment. The project, you remember, we did it on June the 6th. We made a preliminary assessment on May the 26th. That's a week or so before we actually did the work. When we did the preliminary assessment, in these pictures, you'll see what I see. You see the fence that was already damaged. You'll see a old dilapidated fence. And not only that, but we did cell light. We pulled cell light pictures, and they show basically the same thing. You'll see whatever the condition of that fence is in those pictures, that's the condition of that fence right now. And this is a preliminary assessment that was taken the 26th. And those pictures are taken on Mr. Hudson's side of the fence.
These pictures that I'm looking at were taken in Ms. Mayweather's.
They were taken on the other side of the fence. You look, what you looking over there is on Ms. Mayweather's side, and what she's looking at over here is on Mr. Hudson's side. Okay. And they are preliminary assessment before we even start the work, because that's what our practice is. We always do that. Now, on June 6th, we showed up to perform this work. The city had chosen to bifurcate this contract. They had decided they wanted me to move to cut the debris, and they wanted Mr. Patrick Carter to haul the debris off. It would have been better if one of us had done done the whole job. We could have gotten in and got out of it, because I was in Mr. Hudson's backyard for 4 hours. I heard some testimony doing a video that I was there for 5 weeks. I was there for 4 hours. Okay. I arrived there at 8:23. These video shows that it has a picture of Mr. Hudson's car. It shows, you can determine from this picture whether or not a shed was there. You can determine from these pictures whether or not a garage was there. You can determine whether or not a big tree was out there that was cut down. I'll show you these pictures. These pictures are detailed. When you do this, it shows the ride at 8:28. It shows what work we performed at 8:20, 8:29. It shows what progress we made at 8:32. It shows what we were at 8:44. It shows what we were at 10:28. And you can see the guys actually working. We had nothing on this side. Thanks, that's all. Okay. This is picture of the work that's in progress. We got video to support it. Now, those pictures that you see in the front of Mr. Hutchinson driveway, you'll see we started the project from the full left, would have been the east, and we cleared the fence bank to the very west corner. If you look at the condition of the fence, the condition of that fence today is the same condition that the fence is now. Now, a contractor submitted 2 estimates. Mr. Harmon submitted an estimate to repair 740-some linear feet of fence for $2,986. Then another contractor submitted an estimate to repair 160 linear feet for $28.79. Now, I remind you that satellite photos shows that this fence was already damaged to the extent that it's damaged right now. I contacted both contractors, both fence contractors who gave these estimates. The first one, Mr. Harmon, told me that the fence, when he went out to look at the fence, that the fence had holes in it and it was leaning. And that he wrote an estimate for the amount that the person who called him write it for. That's what he told me. And then I called Mr. Cordy Mills, spoke with him on the phone. $28.79 for $160 a linear feet. We do fences for the highway department all the time. We charge the highway department $8 to $10 a linear feet. Somebody's proposing to do a fence for Ms. Mayweather for $40 and some cent a linear feet. That is not reasonable. But we accept no liability for that fence. So I think somebody's trying to gouge the city, do what you want to do with your money, but I have no liability with this, and they're welcome to make a claim against my insurance, and they're welcome to make a claim against my bonding company. But whoever make whatever claim, the thing about it is they got to come forward with the proof, because making the claim itself does not establish a case of entitlement. Now I direct your attention to, you notice in the last one I passed out, you see Mr. Bruce Hutchinson car. He alleged that, in reviewing of the tape, I heard him say that he had to replace the transmission, but his invoice said that he purchased the axle. Now, the people who moved Mr. Bruce's car were wrong. We accept liability for that. Their action of moving the car without proper authority is imputed to Central Arkansas Contractor. We take authority for that. We take responsibility for that. I've had numerous conversations with Mr. Bruce Hutchinson where I've tried to sell this with him because his invoice that he submitted for this is not reasonable. He submitted $156 to replace the axle. He said the transmission was gone. He charged $200 to move a car from Helena-West, but on 3 different occasions, I contacted Mr. Hutchinson and said, we will make you whole. We will fix your car. And he told me, I can't find the keys. Now, how did I find Mr. Hutchinson? I went by and I talked to the neighbor to the east side of his house, and he told me, the neighbor said, well, Mr. Hutchinson is not here. Check with the neighbor on the west side. I talked to the neighbor on the west side. He said, well, he's in Chicago. He said, let me get him on the phone. I went in Mr. Hutchinson's backyard, called him on the cell phone, FaceTimed him. And I showed him these trees. He said, man, he said, I want to leave a shade tree back there. And we FaceTimed and we talked. And then he said, you know what? Somebody is paying for that. Cut all them trees back there. But I think I got the floor right now. So if you look at the pictures and you want to see my videos, there was no tree back there the size Mr. Bruce was talking about anyway. So my position, gentlemen, is I won't be paying any claim, and I welcome any opportunity to pay this in court where I think that I will prevail. That's what we need to do. So you guys got any questions for me?
Are you asking that all these photos and your insurance be made a part of the minutes? Is that what you were saying?
Absolutely, and you can keep all of that. I have all of that.
Okay.
Any questions for me?
Mr. Jackson, if the body has any questions for Mr. Jackson?
I asked that the insurance and the bond and so forth, Ms. Ramsey, be made a prominent part of your records.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
I have a question I'd like to ask Mr. Jackson. Okay. First papers you gave, the first papers you gave us was a certificate of liability insurance.
$2 million certificate of liability. The way they work, Mr. St. Columbus, if we perform a work for the city and we cut a line or we blow something up, or any other thing that's wrong, then that insurance policy will make the city whole.
Because I was looking at the dates on some of this, it's, I didn't see anything that said that you were insured at the time you did the job.
It won't, Mr. Langham's insurance is renewed from 1 year to the next one. Right. So when it expired, it was renewed, but that's, if you want that, it's a matter of the record.
And Mr. Jackson, I'm aware of that because I see 4/3/23, my insurance is due 5/20. So I have the same bond insurance that you have, and it has to be renewed the same time each year.
Like it expires, it goes from
So
1
it-
year,
so-
1 month, 1 year to next year, and then you renew it.
So
So you were covered at the
Right.
time that you did the work. Is that what you're saying?
Been
Yeah.
constantly covered since 2011, yes.
Well, what he needs to do is file a claim with your insurance company. And
Well, why would I have to file a claim when the city hired Mr. Jackson? That's the first thing. There's a very, I was wondering how honest you were gonna be, and that's why I'm here. There's no way in the world a person shows up on your property, you're out of state, and you tell them, oh, just go and do it because it's all free. Well, this is the kind of person, after he texts, I never said anything about the transmission. I've submitted the invoice of what the work was that was needed to be done on the car. He told me he did never move the car until my neighbors started saying, no, he put 2 trucks with a train and we had the drag mark on the ground. He never had permission to cut anything on my property. I never gave permission for anything to be cut on my property. He said it himself. Now he's saying that he stood at my back neighbor's yard, and they pointed out trees. They pointed out, obviously, rather than taking a mistake and just said, we got the wrong trees. Now you want to say, I gave you permission to cut my tree. Just like you said, I gave you permission to tow my car. Who would tow their car in park gear to the end of their path? I left home with all of my things intact. When I came back with the work he had done, and I did not, he's exaggerating. Of course, you all know, he cut the trees, did not move anything. The next day I was there. I told him that. I said, I'll be there the next day, man. I don't know what the push was, but the trees laid on the ground for over 3 months. Now, he said that Patrick was contracted to do that work. I don't disagree with that. But my question or my statement is simply this. I never gave permission for anyone from the city to come on my property to cut anything. They came onto my property, towed my car, did damage. I made 3 attempts with this gentleman to have my car issue resolved. He reneged on every one. He never showed at all. He claimed he was going to take the responsibility. Once I submitted the invoice, now he wants to do a $40, $30 or whatever. I know what I paid the person to fix the car. I gave him opportunity to have his person to come over to fix the car. His person didn't come. 3 times he missed. 3. So how long do you go along with this? You towed my car when I'm out of town. You cut my trees down while I'm out of town. And now I'm the bad guy. If you had the binding papers and stuff, why is the city just not paying me? And they're doing business with you. I'm not doing business with you.
I don't want to be argumentative. I stand on my record. I'm prepared to defend this in court if you want to bring a cause of action.
Well, all I'm just saying is if you're doing business with the city, you're not doing business with me. Let the city go and file against your claim, your insurance, right?
I mean, I don't care how you do it. It's just,
I know you don't. I can tell that by the work you did. So this is June of last year, is that correct? We have June coming up now. It's been over a year that I've been going through this. Situation has not got any better. I submitted my invoices to the city. All I want is my property put back in some order where it's livable for me. I love the points that he did bring out though. My neighbor and I were so concerned that this guy would get back there and cut our shade spot down, that he went down there. But I told this man, I said, I'll be home tomorrow. What is your rush? So he rushed and did the job, the wrong job, because just as he said, which I don't understand either, nothing was done to my neighbor's yard. The woman whose house he went to, nothing was did. Nothing. So that's the part that's got me. I'm the only one that had the harm done. No work was done on my property with my permission, and the work that he was permitted, supposedly did, he did none of that. Is that correct, sir?
Very incorrect.
Isn't that gate still there?
I wasn't hired to move a gate.
I didn't say you were. You were hired to cut the trees by the gate. Aren't the trees still there? Yes. I just left my house. They're there.
Any more questions for me?
Sorry.
Any more questions for me? I stand on my record. Any more questions for me?
About any more questions?
For me? I stand on the record.
Again, the reason I'm here before council is because work that was done on the city's behalf was done incorrectly. It was done on my property. I am at a loss. All I want to be done with is made to be, I don't even know if you can, I don't think that you can't do that. I want it to be treated fairly, and I want something to be done in regards to that. The work, I will not talk to this gentleman about about him reimbursing me for the car because he wants to do $40 or $50 or whatever he wants to do. But I've given him 3 opportunities to fix the car. And he's not taking advantage of it. Yes, sir.
Now, my understanding, what you're saying is that you never gave permission to anyone to come on your property and cut those trees down that were cut on your property.
That's absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And for him to say, I knew the measure of a man is his level of honesty. This man, who does that? Would you be out of town, a person you've never heard of called and said, we're going to cut the trees down in your back. You're going to get your trees cut down. But still, he didn't even cut the neighbor's trees down. The ones that he was contracted to do the work with. I simply considered myself being a good neighbor by allowing him access to their gate to cut the trees down. The guy came in and made a mistake. Rather than live up to the mistake, he would rather do all of this. It was I know it was a mistake. I don't think the man did it intentionally. He didn't just show up at my house to do that. But what he did, it harmed me, and it was not my fault. And for him to allude that I would have him cut a tree down that I planted 22 years ago because it was cheap. He can get it free. Well, still, why don't you do the neighbor's yard that you were contracted for? So you changed the whole job around? I would like for city council to stop having me go through this nightmare. I've submitted my invoices to you guys, and I want to be honored. I want my invoices to be paid. I want my work to be done so I don't have to go through another year of a tore up yard and not having the use of my driveway or any of the other stuff, all because of Mr. Jackson. Yes, sir, Mr. Columbia.
Really, he's got insurance, he's got a bond, he's been bonded according to the information that he presented. That would be, the insurance company would be.
That would be the city's responsibility to submit the claim. My grief is not with his insurance company or bonding company. You all send him out there. He shows y'all his bond. He doesn't show me the bond. That's y'all responsibility. You got a city attorney there. That's what his job is. I'm a citizen who was done wrong. Now you want me to go do the legal affairs of it too with him?
Kendra, you was here a week or two ago and you said you had made a reasonable diligent inquiry and that we did not have a bond.
That's exactly right. That's right.
So if your reasonable diligent inquiry was wrong, you may be wrong about this too.
Well, you might have a bond.
The bond and the insurance is public records.
Well, They are the ones that should make a claim to your bonding company. Should I? You tell me, should I?
I think you should be the one.
Why? Did I contract you to do the work?
Interjection.
Yeah.
I think both of you have presented excellent on your points of view. I think really right now, I think the legal people need to weigh in on it. So maybe possibly we take this and have our attorney look at it and get back with you.
I've already weighed in on it. I said the city is not responsible for the issue and from the doctrine of sovereign immunity.
Okay.
Toward immunity. This is a negligent act. And the city would only be liable to the extent that it will be insurance. It wouldn't be covered by insurance. He has insurance that covers it, and the claim just needs to be filed with them. Now, I don't represent Mr. Hudson. I represent the city of Helena-West Helena. The city hasn't suffered a loss. We can forward the paperwork to them and say this claim has been provided to the city and here it is, but they're still going to negotiate with Mr. Hudson and not with the city.
Right.
They're not going to negotiate with us because we don't claim a loss. It's just like you filing a claim against someone who's harmed you.
So, excuse me, Mr. Ballard.
Yes.
Basically, what you're saying is the city contracted the person. They sent them out. There's a claim, there's a potential for a claim against this insurance for the work that's done. But now I'm responsible for the claim, having to file for the claim.
Well, a claim has two elements.
Yeah.
Well, he told us the two elements. I want him to answer that question.
Actually, yes, Mr. Hudson, because he's licensed and bonded. That's why the city hires licensed and bonded people.
So the city.
If there was a legality issue, that the issue would be between you and the independent contractor.
And Mr. Hudson is welcome to go and make a claim against all of it.
Well, why?
But let me finish, let me finish. You can have a copy. Let me finish. A claim has two elements. It has, there's one element is there has to be liability. And then there has to be damages. He has to, you can go and pursue anything you want to, but you're going to have to prove to my insurance company, I'm sorry, you're going to prove to my insurance company that you was wrong. You can prove that to me and I'll pay you the claim. If you prove me that.
I know what kind of person you are. You're not going to pay you.
You taking this person.
Understand, we have a lengthy agenda. You all can discuss that with the city attorney.
Mr. Ballard, please finish where you were.
Yeah, what I was saying is you're the person that would file, even when if we send this to the insurance company still is going to want to speak to you and Mr. Jackson, because we don't have an interest in the outcome of it in the sense of we haven't suffered a loss. When I say we, I mean the city. City has suffered a loss. Part of the reason why we want people to have insurance is the very reason why, because we have tort immunity.
So I'm left with doing the work. You send people out to do the work on behalf of the city. But I have clarity with the understanding of filing the claim. So they say to me, I didn't hire him. So okay, I hear what you're saying. I think I hear what you're saying.
But here's the thing. Part of this too, Mr. Hudson, I know you said things that implied that I didn't do something as city attorney.
When?
You said that this falls on legal. But the issue is Mayor Smith and Mr. Jarvis Smith contracted them. It never came before this body. It never came to me as city attorney. I didn't know anything about it till this year when all the stuff started. You started calling, you started getting the paperwork to it, because the issue was Mayor Kevin Smith did this with you all. It never came for the council. The city should have probably, the Mustang Columbia asked a very salient question. What was the purpose of the city cutting trees on any property? And I don't understand. I still don't understand why the city was on the property.
Well, my question is simply this, sir. If the mayor of the city as mayor does think, so the city is not liable, the council is not responsible, the city is not, so the mayor can just.
What I'm saying is.
He does it in the name of the city. Isn't that correct?
He does the name of the city, but what I'm telling you is the city.
Yes.
Under Arkansas Constitution, as well as statutes that cooperate with the Constitution, has what's called tort immunity.
I'm familiar with it.
Right.
I spoke for a lawyer.
Yeah. You have sat on the council before. You're aware of it, and for things of negligence, this is alleged negligence. So the city is not liable for negligence. only to the extent the city has insurance that covers the type of thing.
So you're saying that the
cities
bonding
are
papers,
responsible, cities are responsible up to $25,000 for negligence of an automobile accident
Mhm.
because every person that operates a vehicle on the streets have to have liability insurance. In fact, the state of Arkansas, when it commits things like this, you have to file a claim with the Claims Commission of the state, have a full hearing, and then if it's above $25,000, you have to ask the legislature to pay you because tort immunity is that strong. And so one of the things about it is we didn't write the Constitution, we didn't write the laws. What tort immunity contemplates is every person in the city has an ownership interest in the city, and it's tantamount to you suing yourself. And so
Absolutely,
the
I
issue
know.
is that is the law. Now, we oftentimes get people who have, they damaged potholes and et cetera, or they ran across potholes, cause all kind of problems, or other things that happen that's negligent. That's why we want to do the spending where you have someone that's licensed, bonded, so that citizens will have a remedy. Here you have a remedy. You have a remedy. You could just file on his insurance, and if the insurance company pays you, they pay you. If they don't, you still have 3 years statute of limitation of suing.
who?
Central Arkansas Contractors.
So you're saying that at that particular time when he did my work, that he was a bonded person. And that's what the city is saying to me right now. You're saying that.
That's why I said that he was a bonded person.
And at this point, Mr. Hudson, take your grievance to this guy's bonding or insurance company.
Yes, sir.
That's exactly what you're saying, right? May I have papers of the bonding?
Sir?
May I have papers of it? How do I submit it without any papers? Give me the papers and let me do that then. So the city sends people to my home to get work done. They tear my stuff up, and now I'm left with having to defend myself against
Well,
that.
Mayor Smith negligently sent somebody to your house to
I
do.
think that there's something wrong when the council wants to say that they're not responsible for, or you guys, this is what I mentioned last time. When we elect you all into office, we elect you all as a team.
Yes,
And now for you all to turn your back on the quarterback, say it was all the quarterback's fault. That's why we lost the game. That's not right about that.
let me pause you for a second.
Why does
The
hold on,
quarterback-
let me just ask, why does he not, why did you not? What other acts did he do that you all are not aware of?
We have about $588,000 unpaid bills that he left.
Y'all didn't know about those either, huh?
No, that's why Mayor Franklin constantly beat on the table, and other people asked the mayor about what he was spending, why he following the spending ordinances and all those things. He did what he wanted to do, and it's probably why he's not mayor right now. But as a team, the mayor is in charge of day-to-day operations, and the city council is responsible for finances and real property. And
If I submit this claim to this company, and this company doesn't know anything about Mr. Jackson, where's my claim then? If I submit this claim to Mr. Jackson's insurance company, they don't know nothing about Mr. Jackson.
you still have a claim with Central Arkansas.
Well,
Contractor.
no, I'm just saying, if you are, so everything,
If he
in other
doesn't,
words,
if he doesn't have, if his insurance is invalid, he's still personally, his corporation is still personally liable to you. He's already admitted liability.
I know.
I have a meeting liability as to the car. The car is what I said that they
Right.
should not have moved, and I said I would make him whole. Okay, well,
Mr. Jackson, come on, I'll stand back and let you.
you tell him to come on and say go back.
Okay.
Well, I
Well,
think I think that there's something is going on with this guy because this misinformation that got him there that created the problem in the beginning is still happening now. So now I'm still wondering, he believes that he should have cut my yard, although he says that he was not contracted to.
So what I suggest is you all have a discussion outside and we'll, because we have.
I understand. We'll get back to the agenda. So I wanted just, my last word was from the city attorney. The city attorney says, Mr. Hudson, file these papers against the people in regards to your claim. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Let
sir. I'm
them
not
work
your
that.
personal attorney, but that's what I would do.
No, I'm not saying it. I know who you are. You're the city attorney.
Yes, sir.
This was a city matter. This was brought up because of the city being involved in it. So what you're saying is, if this paperwork, this binding stuff, if it's not true, if it's not good, then I come back to the city, right?
Central Arkansas Contractors is still is the person that you would talk to. 'Cause if you were, here's the recourse. If you would file a lawsuit against the city right now, based on circumstances, I would file a motion for summary judgment, motion for judgment of pleading, dismissing it as relates to sovereign immunity.
Yes.
Okay? You still would have a lawsuit potentially against the Central Arkansas Contractor.
All righty. I think that was good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next on the agenda, we have 2 event permits. We have one from Second Baptist Church Annual Block Party. We have Party in the Park. I'm gonna try to do both of these permits together. These permits have been signed and okay. The Second Baptist Church Annual Block Party will be April 29th, 2023. And the Party at the Park, the contact person is Miss Shamika Calvin, and the contact person to the Second Street Baptist Block Party is Michael Larkin. They have been signed by the police chief, sanitation and fire. Is there a motion? Mr. St. Columbia moves that we adopt accept both of these permits. I say. Mr. Miller and Mrs. Miller seconds the motion. Madam, any discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
St. Columbia.
Yeah.
Harris. Yes. Dr. Miller.
Yes.
Davis. Yes. Ms. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Etherly.
Yes.
6 years.
Thank you all so much. Next, Councilman St. Columbia to discuss updates on repair, water leaks and street paving, et cetera, potholes on Liberty Street. Mr. St. Columbia recognized.
I just wanted to ask, this body, what is happening with all the potholes and the, water leaks in our community? Is any work being done in that area? I've noticed a lot of potholes and a lot of water leaks. What are our plans? What are we doing?
The weather has warmed up and we're fixing potholes. I'm sure that you ride through Walmart. I'm sure that you ride through some of these streets and you see potholes are being fixed. The sanitation department has been out as of today, filling potholes, water leaks. Mr. Murdoch is not here to answer those, but I'm sure you see we've been in all over town fixing water leaks and we're making great progress.
Good.
I'd be happy for you to get out and ride with us. We'll be happy to pick you up and show you some of our work. If me and the chief of staff would be
I'd be
so
glad
happy
to.
to take you. So what day are you available to go? Tomorrow's fine. Me and the chief of staff will pick you up.
I've been out of town.
What about Friday?
I'm tied up Friday.
What about next
week? I'll get with you.
Well,
on time
can you
today.
let the city clerk know? Because we would like to get you out there. Mrs. Miller has been out there. Mrs. Davis has also rode through and saw some of our work.
'Cause I've got, there's a leak just happened.
Well,
I just noticed.
If it's a leak, you should know the protocol. You should call the water department.
I did.
Right. So what are their response to you?
Sir,
What did they respond to you? Did they give you a time they'll be out there? At the leak that if you say you told them about the leak?
Yeah.
What was it?
they
What
said
was,
they put it on the list.
okay. So tell me the list and tell me where the leak is and I'll be happy to follow up them.
It's at the intersection of Paw and Bernice Street.
Oh, that's by your house. Oh, that's a good thing. I'll make sure I give them tomorrow and I'll knock on your door when it's done. Anything else, Ms. St. Columbia? Thank you so much.
Thank
Next
you,
on
sir.
the agenda is the treasury report. Oh, well,
I haven't actually gone through it. We've been having some issues with the
server.
Yeah, with the server, but so I just printed it off today.
Thank you.
So I didn't have a chance to go.
So we'll just review it. Next, me and the city attorney have been talking about the discussion of record service. City attorney, if you would weigh in on that for us.
As it relates to record services, we're having some issue with record services. I'm researching to draft an ordinance relating to it. We have some record services in the city and some outside the city that we've received many complaints. When I say we, the city has received many complaints, the mayors in particular, about people cars being towed and they're being allegedly gouged for towing fees and exorbitant amount of towing fees. And so what the mayor has asked for us to look at it, and we'll take this up more at the next meeting, is limiting who may be on a tow list and et cetera, because of the issue that's ongoing. But I don't have a witness for you this evening, but I have one ready for you at the next meeting.
What would that kind of look like? Just kind of something to kind of keep the price down or kind of?
It's not necessarily the price, is the behavior to make sure that they're following the law.
Okay.
Because what's happening, what some people complain about is they get charged a large tow fee. Then after being charged a large tow fee, the next issue they do is because they can't pay it, they get notice of the vehicle being sold and et cetera. And so people are being upset about that.
Okay.
Now, one of the things about it too is they want to make sure that the police department is giving them the right to choose who they act to tow the vehicle. Because there have been reports that some people have been denied the right to choose who they want to tow the vehicle. And that causes issues for them because some records going to charge more than others records, and they should be able. And then the other thing people complain about, they want to make sure that they are able to call someone like, hey, don't just call a record immediately. If Dr. Miller's vehicle is about to be towed, can he call his sister Maxine mother come pick it up? And so those are the little things they want us to work through and make sure we have clarity on as far as policy.
And also,
In addition to that, we're talking about non-consent.
Correct.
Non-consent, that's what the police say they're going to be told.
Okay. So yeah, maybe that's
What the companies are doing
uh-huh.
is they're gouging.
Yeah.
They're not allowing you to get them on the weekend, not allowing you to get them at night. And they're charging a daily storage fee. And the city is not required to have a rotation list. The city can designate a toll, or the city can set its fee schedule if you want to be involved in the non-consent toll. And I'm telling you what I know, because I've been a victim. But I'm also telling you what I know, because I wrote this body twice last year about record companies violating state law in terms of the notice they're required to give, when they're required to give it, and to whom they're required to give it. And they're simply not doing it. And people, especially poor people, are suffering. So that's what the mayor and the city attorney are going to present to you to give you opportunity to fix it for the benefit of all the people.
Well, my concern has been for a number of years is when cars are towed as a punitive measure for people who get stopped on the side of the road. They have some spat with the officer, and then he says, I'm gonna have your vehicle towed. And if I remember correctly, when we adopted those last policy and procedures, and this was under the previous chief, he was supposed to come back and make a presentation to us so we could specifically address the towing policy. And I don't think he ever came back.
That's correct.
Yeah. So we've never addressed it, but and the chief is here. No, I'm not talking about you. You
Right,
the chief.
right.
But sometimes what happens on the street is the individual and officer get into it, and then as a punitive measure, they had a car towed. And then the towing company jumps in and they'll tow it at 1, but at 1:45, they'll tell you it's too late for us to come back and get it. But if you call them at 2 and say, we got another one for you to tow, they'll come out and get that one. And they'll tell that person, you can't get it until tomorrow. So that's part of the problem.
and next, anything else?
So is Chief Bell is gonna come back and.
I mean, I would like for us, because we never got a chance. We were supposed to come back and specifically address that towing provision. Because the last thing we want, somebody gets stopped and they get a ticket, they got to pay the ticket, they got to pay court costs. If the car gets towed and they get some high towing fee, they could potentially lose the entire car. And in this community, that's too punitive for maybe a traffic stop, especially when you can have somebody come out and get the car. You know, can I just call somebody to come and get the car? And that's what I sought to avoid, is having people's cars towed over minor, infractions. It's different if they have evidentiary issues and they have to take the car. But just because some officer got mad at you on the side of the street and decided to have a car towed, that's the kind of thing that I wanted to try to avoid. And the way to do it was to have a towing policy. You can only have the car towed under these factors. And if there's a person who can come and get it, assuming it's properly insured and drivable and all those things, it can be taken away safely. Allow that individual to designate someone to come and pick up the car.
You know, like if they're picking it up for the city, on city, that this is a certain rate.
Yes, I said, but I hate when people do that, but yes, sir. There could be a standard fee, the city council could set if you're gonna toll for city. These are the fees that we can set.
Yeah, because I know in California, my car got towed. It was a standard fee scale. That's another story though. Went into the airport, and when I came back, my car was gone. Parked in the wrong location.
Wow.
More discussion about this?
Well, I'll bring that to the next agenda, and I'll meet with the mayor and the chief about it, and work it out. And we'll pull the particular policy that Mr. Ethel is talking about. It's in the standard operation manual for the police department that Chief Patrick Smith had passed. We'll look at that in particular.
Next on the agenda to discuss, I met with Pastor Danny Robinson regarding the cost of the roof of the Southside Helena Community Center. Pastor Danny Robinson currently holds the lease of that building. The roof repair, Mr. Val, would you look on top of that? And give me that. He sent some pictures. Now, he says that he would pay $1,500 if the council would agree to pay the other $1,500. But Ms. Ramsey, we have a lease with them, right around Ms. Ramsey?
It was a 99-year lease for $1 a year.
So I'm gonna show you, he brought some pictures by, and he insisted that, I get the council to look at that and see what they be in favor. They did this half, I'm assuming, and this the half that's leaking. So you all can see that, and here's his pictures. I told him that I would. Here's some more of the pictures, passed it around, but he wanted to share this with you all to see, would you all be willing to go half with him on helping with the repairs?
For the sake of listening audience, when I say go half, the city is the actual owner of this building. This is a former Arkansas Street Fire Station. So it is the city's property. They have a lease for the property. And the total bill is $3,000. And the lessee says that they would do half, which is $1,500 for the repairs.
What did our agreement say about repairs?
They have responsibility for the building. We maintain the insurance on it each year. But they maintain the building.
Okay. Right.
Mr. Chief of Staff, isn't that what I sent you, that they maintain the building?
Yes, ma'am. It's in the minutes from 2009, when they were last allowed to lease the building, $1.99.
I know that Pastor Robinson, they put a lot of money into the building of their own expenses. And my personal view, $1,500, and they're actually just asking for half just to patch up a roof. I don't really see anything wrong with that, but that's my view.
If that's something you would like to do, certainly you can put it in motion, the body can hold it up or down.
And I sort of see that too. The only concern I have is that if the agreement was that they would maintain the building and that the city would be liable for the insurance and the insurance only, is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, ma'am. In our current policy, we have, on property damage, we have a $10,000 deductible.
So is this roof repair considered damage, or is it just normal wear and tear? And
I don't know if it was damaged during the recent storms or anything, but we wouldn't even meet the deductible,
It looks damaged. I don't know when this happened, but it doesn't look like ordinary wear.
But not enough to meet the deductible.
But he's saying this would, he got an estimate, this is $3,000, he's not asking to go through insurance.
Right.
He's just asking for
Right.
$1,500, he gonna give
Right.
half and
Right.
wants the city to give half.
He couldn't, because the deductible was 10,000.
Yeah.
It's a $3,000 job.
So, I mean, I can't decide that, so you all have the great privilege of doing that, if you also choose to.
I think part of me is just saying, you know, you have a tenant. They're paying whatever their rent is. You actually own the building, so you would therefore be responsible for those types of repairs. I would think. Because the building does not belong to him. But if our agreement with him, I would think that would be a legal. You know, part of me is like, well, hey, you know, we still own the building, we should pay that half. But then the part of me that says, okay, but our agreement was that if you are gonna lease it for $1 a year for perpetuity, then, you know, you're gonna be responsible for those repairs. City attorney?
They're responsible for repairs. It's a catch-22 situation that you just said, because legally, in order to maintain our insurance, if we know of something that's repaired, our insurance may be canceled on it if we don't, if it's not fixed. And so it has to be fixed one way or the other. I guess the question would be, what recourse would we want to take against them relating to the maintenance is the question.
Well, if we have to have the insurance on the building, and if that roof has to be done to maintain the insurance, I would think that, and this is me personally, I'm not speaking for, I mean, $1,500 is a bargain. I mean,
Well,
to me, but I don't know.
let me be clear about what I'm saying. To the extent that we know there's an issue with the roof, and eventually the insurance company will probably inspect it. And if you inspect it and they say that you haven't maintained it, then the next thing you would get is a cancellation notice saying, hey, you are neglecting this property and we're not going to insure you. You're a risk. And so at some point, the city may have to step in and say, okay, well, I'll fix the roof. And so the question isn't, we have a duty to protect the property. The question is, what recourse do you want thereafter? The first question is, the roof needs to be fixed. The second question is, what recourse do you want to take an action against them to recoup the $1,500? That's the only issue. But I think the city has to do this. If the city owns the property, the city has insurance on it, we can't allow it to be neglected. That's $1,500. The body probably, you're in charge of real property and finances, the body probably should pay it. The question is, at that point, do you want to seek them to repay the $1,500 at some point?
Well, I mean, then I'd like to make a motion that we meet them with the $1,500 that they've asked for to pay for the roof.
I second that.
Ms. Miller makes a motion to give, to help Beautiful Zion with a $1,500 check to repair the cost of the roof. Dr. Miller seconded the motion. Is there any discussion?
Andre's known me for a number of years, so he can read my expressions. And what I was thinking is, I won't throw up a roadblock on this, but we got to decide where it ends, because what if there's something else wrong with the building next month? We had an agreement. We give it to you, $1, we'll give it to you. You fix it. And that was the exchange. So, and I'm thinking about any agreement that we may have with somebody else going forward. And so, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to stand in the way of this, but we got to project forward about how we're going to handle these matters. If we have an agreement with somebody, then that's the deal.
Oh, sorry, not the city's property. So it's the Arkansas,
Arkansas Street Fire.
it's the so can you change it to the Arkansas Fire Street Station?
Sure.
So,
Arkansas Street Fire.
yeah.
Which is currently being used in the South Helena community center.
So, changing the motion to bill.
Well, let me consider. So, and help me with this. So if we have to maintain the insurance and they're only paying $1 for however long, why are they not paying the insurance?
That was the agreement that they reached with the city council then.
That was the agreement.
They will provide the community center for South Helena. It was, they've actively used it as a community center. The issue was the city council thought that was good terms, and that's what city council approved. Now, at this point, as a practical matter, they would be in breach of contract for not maintaining. So there are many options the city can pursue for us. If they don't pay the $1,500 back, you can terminate the lease, et cetera, because they're in breach. They're supposed to maintain it. I'm not suggesting that, but I'm just saying. But what happened, really, they were doing the city a service, because as a second party, of course, the building was not in good repair. They came in, started maintaining the building, started doing things, and they took something off the city's hands that the city was not maintaining itself.
Right.
And so part of it is, that's why the city said, we'll keep it on our insurance and you all just maintain it. Because at the time, the city couldn't just give it to. So the motion is corrected to show the Arkansas Street Fire Station that is currently being used to South Helena Community Center. Is there any other discussion? I'm sorry, man, but I was trying to get back to where we were.
Madam Clerk, what you call the roll?
Davis. St. Columbia,
Yes.
Hal Miller,
Yes.
Harris,
Abstain.
Etherly,
Yes.
Maxine Miller,
Yes.
that's 5 years. One extension.
Motion passes. Councilwoman Miller, you're next for discussion. Mr. Clarence Allen has been asked to report on a boom in the griping truck, so asked to clear debris from the storm in his regular route. Trucks allowed to follow residents known to put out debris on the streets.
Yes, the only thing is I had called our chief of staff and I asked him, or we were in discussions, and I asked him to see if we could have Mr. Allen put on the agenda to come before the council to explain what's going on with the boom trucks, the grapple trucks and so forth, because I'm getting a lot of phone calls about trash not being picked up, lamps not being picked up, a lot of things, just debris, on the side of the road. It's in piles, it's ready to be picked up, and it's not being picked up. And I just want to know if they can give us an update. How is that going?
I can, and certainly chief of staff, but we got a truck running. 2 trucks are still down. We're waiting on a cylinder for 1 truck. We're replacing hose on the truck. So we are, I think we're still down to chief of staff, if I'm not mistaken. One is working. So we're piecing stuff on the yard. We can't afford to buy anything new, so we're piecing trucks. We took an old truck and made a truck that works. So we're replacing hose and stuff in there. Mr. Ballard, if you would be so kind to share what you saw today out there at the shop yard.
Okay, well, first, let me address Councilman Miller. I'm sorry that Mr. Allen's not here. We asked the fire chief and the police chief to come tonight. We're gonna get them here for the next meeting, so you can hear from Mr. Allen. But as it relates to the grapple trucks, knuckle boom trucks, or the trucks that pick up the class 4 waste on the side of the road, that's the couches, refrigerators, limbs, and all of that. We were operating between 1 and 1.5 trucks most of this year, basically, because one was wrecked last September or so, and we ordered parts and we got it put together finally. So it's in operation, but we got a driver in training in that truck. The other truck was not in very good health either.
Every day we're having a problem with hoses and various things, various breakdowns. Then there's a third truck that we pulled out the back that we're trying to get ready. But we ordered a part maybe 6 weeks ago that would make it operational. And we got the part today or yesterday. And so they got to put it on. So hopefully by mid-May or early June, we have 3 trucks running. And the routes that they are supposed to run is the same route as the residential garbage pickup. So if your garbage is being picked up on Tuesday, the other waste should be picked up on Tuesday as well. Whatever it is should all be out there. Now, one of the problems we are encountering is landlords. Once their tenants move out, there's nobody paying a bill at that house, and they pile worlds of junk on the side of the road at a house that nobody's paying for. And we're gonna have to deal with that as a city council and code enforcement and others. There's an address on South Sam. There's one on Perry as you come into town. Nobody's living there, but there's a big pile of waste. And so we pick it up, we don't collect any money for that. We're only collecting $3.25 for that waste per month. That rate was set 15 years ago. You should revisit it at some time soon because of inflation and everything else. Wages have gone up, diesel has gone up, hydraulic fluid has gone up, oil has gone up, everything's gone up. The amount of waste that they're putting out has gone up, but the amount you're charging has not. And so that's one of the complications. Mr. Turner.
What was wrong with, I passed the boom truck, I think it was last week, it stopped at 4th Street and Anderson.
Yes, sir.
What was wrong? Did y'all get that?
I passed it too. The guy that started in a few minutes and
Okay.
went on about his business. I don't know.
Okay.
It's old and raggedy.
Okay.
It's a short answer. I mean, I don't mean that to be fun.
Okay.
It's just what it is. Our equipment is put through the ringer by the people who use it, by the territory you run on. That equipment is run on the same bad roads you drive on. And then it gets out to the landfill, which is dirt and rocks and all that, and it's wiggling and shaking and driving on top of trash. It's a tough road for that equipment all the time. There's never an easy day for our equipment. And that's what the best operators. Our operators are not necessarily the best trained at this point. I don't say that to be down on them. We're just trying to get better human capital as we go forward. We're glad that we have the people working for us that we have working for us. Now, there's another issue Councilman Miller brought up that we're working on. That is, we have a truck number 55 that extends the arm out to dump residential waste. And it half dumps the cart. It doesn't do a complete dump. And so it's not cycling correctly. And that's something the mechanics and the drivers are working on. Now, what's supposed to happen is the ride-along person is supposed to get out and stir it up or whatever, and then they dump it a second time. That's what's supposed to happen. But that doesn't always happen. And of course, we are dealing with trash. So that's one of the issues. But while anybody got any questions about that? Because we're going to try to get Clarence to come and he can give you more specifics about who's training and all that. Because we got 2 new people in the street department that's been trained on that knuckle boom truck. And we've taken Clarence out of the truck for a variety of reasons. One, to give other people opportunity. The other, we won't necessarily just say here. But I'll tell you if you ask me away from here. But moving on, Mr. St. Columbia, I believe, mentioned Liberty Street. And we've talked with Ken Weiland about Liberty Street. And he's going to give us some proposals on what to do on Liberty Street. And if it exceeds $5,000 for his work, he's going to ask us to come and ask you all to give him permission to do it. The short summary is we need to do a curb and gutter on Liberty Street to run the water down to the drop inlet at the bottom at Perry Street. And we have to build up the stuff under there because it's being eroded by just rainwater at this point. The sewer leak has been repaired, the water leaks are repaired, but now the runoff is the problem. And that's why Liberty Street is still closed or should be closed. It's my understanding, however, that KIPP Delta is dropping kids off at the bottom of the hill to walk through the barricade. And so I'm going to ask the police chief and the mayor to address that with KIPP Delta. They need to take them up the hill so they're not walking through that dangerous area until we can get it repaired. Now, we can't do nothing about the knucklehead grownups that's going through it, but we certainly don't want to have children walking through that area. It's really not safe. And it's going to cost you a lot of money to get it fixed, according to Ken Weiland. And you may want to do it one way where you have to bid it, a different way you may not have to bid it, but
it's gonna cost us some significant money to get that done. Word Street, we ran a ditch around it to control the flow from Wall School, and it's doing better, and we may be able to do a more simplistic fix on Word Street. And I believe that's all the update. Oh, the landfill. We need permission. Did we ask for permission yet to do the scale? So last week, we got notice that the scale company could come to town to clean out our scale. And they came yesterday, and they've been there from 10 or 11 yesterday morning, and they've been there all day today. They said that it's in awful shape. Said it had this much water and sludge and all that for the length of it. They didn't estimate that it would be that much. And so they're cleaning it out. They have to clean it out in order to get all of the parts on the bottom of it calibrated. It has to be calibrated so we can get a seal on it saying that our scale is appropriately measuring the weight of the vehicles that go on it. So we're collecting the right tonnage, and that we're charging for the right tonnage, and more importantly, paying the state of Arkansas and the Solid Waste Management District the appropriate fees for the tonnage. So we tried to set a meeting twice last week to get approval on the front end to get it done. And, you know, we apologize, but we went on and told them to do the work. It's going to be more than $5,000, but they wouldn't be back till late May or June. And we got an inspection coming up. So we need to get the scale calibrated. So we're asking y'all for forgiveness and permission at once to approve. I think it's Clean Harbors who's doing the work. Clean Harbor come to us through Fairbanks Scales.
And he went to prison. They gave him
I believe I
life
emailed
in
the
prison because he was
estimate out to you all.
and I'm
And
talking about,
Ms.
you know, they put that
responded, and I
3-strike
talked to her
thing like
about it.
that.
But it may be a little
Dude had
higher than
probably
that.
10
We don't know
strikes.
the exact amount.
He done been in and
They're doing
out,
work.
in
We
and
gotta
out.
have it done.
about
They were
10
there. I was here at 6:30 tonight. I left the
in
landfill.
Tennessee.
Still out there.
They gave him life in prison.
It was
And told him
87-49.
never
I
walk.
think. Yes, sir.
Well, that guy.
That's what I was about to ask you, was
God,
you asking for approval up to what amount?
faith in God.
I don't have an up to.
That
We can do the 87-49 and
That
go back and
man.
ask for more, I guess. I don't know.
And
They did a change order last night saying this thing is worse than
because they say
hadn't been cleaned probably in
with
15
the
years.
abilities
Nobody
that you
maintained
got
it. It's
to do
bad
all,
shape.
and you spoke
So
on that
they
years,
told.
a while back. Well, all these
Yeah.
years that you've been
It
doing what
hasn't
you're
been
doing,
clean since we reopened.
we gonna give you a job. And they
Probably
paid
hasn't
him.
been cleaned since we
This
reopened.
man
We
done worked for
cleaned
the.
it and calibrated it when we reopened in 2006 or 2007, and probably has not been cleaned since. And the man that's down in there is in like a spacesuit.
Right.
You know, it's just, it's nasty. It's garbage. And while we're on nasty as garbage, the water department has been trying to fix the sewer problem in Waverly Woods. It's not draining. It's backing up on a customer or two. We found a broken line in the woods, where a tree had fallen on the line and collapsed it. And we got it repaired today, but we found several manhole problems. One, a tree fell on the manhole, and whoever repaired the manhole should be, as they say, hog-tied and whipped. He, she, or they left debris in the bottom of the manhole, bricks and rocks and all kinds of stuff. And as you know, as sewage and tissue flows over the bricks and rock, it becomes solid and it blocks the manhole. Not only that, the manhole is in shabby shape. So we're gonna have that manhole rebuilt. And that one you can see from the street. It's in the yard beside Miss Money Jordan. I don't know who's there now, but her sister used to live there years ago. And she drive through Waverly Woods on the northern side or west side, whichever one is the furthest from going from Helena. You can see that manhole up there in the yard and it's in bad shape. So we still haven't fixed the whole sewer problem, but we're working manhole and clean out box to manhole and clean out box. The other thing is a manhole was down in the woods, buried under 12 inches of leaves and 8 inches of dirt. So it took us a long time to try to find it. But we did finally find that manhole. And I think I've covered enough.
Come back to the scale before we leave. Stay right there, Ms. Bell. I need you all to take some action on the scale up to, what is it, 8750?
I'd like to make a motion that we,
Ms. Miller, what is the name of the company? It's
Clean Harbor.
Like to give Clean Harbor 8750. Is there a second? Ms. Davis taking the motion. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Dr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. St. Columbia, Ms. Miller,
yes.
Mr. Etherly.
Yes.
Ms. Davis. Ms. Harris,
Yes.
6 yes.
Chief of Staff, to discuss, the Helena-West on how to handle the houses built by Gary Lynch Construction and update to the council of the HUD property.
All right, and I'll make this short. The Gary Lynch properties are being taken over by the Helena Housing Authority. They have not completed that legal transaction yet, but Helena Housing Authority does have control of all of those houses at this time. And I think they also are planning to do as much as like $85 million in new construction at some point, going to a more single-family house instead of apartments. All right, now going to the apartments that we are in agreement with them to tear down, they have yet to receive the notice to proceed from HUD. They have to get the notice to proceed from HUD before they tell us to go forward with tearing it down. And that's part of the reason it looks like it looks, and around some of them, they did some asbestos removal. And when they did that, they tore some stuff up to test for the asbestos. So it's all spread out. And of course, people have been going in and scavenging for copper and whatever else they can sell. But it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to go there and clean it up when you're gonna clean it up when you tear them down. So that's part of the reason. And it's not ours, it's the housing authorities at this point. It's not for us to enter on until they give us the notice to proceed. That's why the city hasn't done anything with those buildings yet. I think it's 16 of them. But I talked to him last week, so this is pretty current. I was down at one of the houses, Gary Lynch, somebody had torn the light meter off and they're gone in the back window and all of that. So I called Mark Price and he called somebody and they're getting them boarded up to prevent any further damage. Anything else?
Anything else? Chief Bell, if you.
Chief Bell said since it's been a long night, I know he can speak for himself, but we can get him another time unless.
They want to hear from that thing.
Well, let me sit down.
Well, we
Gonna get mine over. Ain't gonna get mine over with. Ain't gonna be long. Time has been well spent. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm gonna piggyback off of what the children were saying earlier. And we do have a lot of shooting in the city. And we are putting some things in place to try to combat that. And we're working short staff, but we're doing the best that we can in our patrol techniques. Crime has spiked a little bit. It's gotten warm. People are out there moving. And so it has spiked. And I'll give y'all a handout before I leave tonight. And it's not a whole lot, but from January this year through March of this year, there's been a spike. And most of it's in smaller crimes, misdemeanor crimes, and not our higher echelon type crimes. Those are 3 months numbers, and there's a comparison for a 5-year average on where we are and where we're going. And we'll again put some things in place to try to combat the spike in crime. And a lot of it is due to the shootings. Folks are shooting in the air. They're not actually shooting anyone in particular. One of our main issues today is dealing with mental patients. We've had a spike in having to spend a lot of time taking them to the hospital, getting them evaluated. That's 3-4 hours, and then another 4 or 5 hours to transport to Little Rock. And so that's why I think some of the things are taking place, because we have to take a person off of the street for long periods of time. to deal with those individuals. That's an everyday occurrence. So again, we're doing the best that we can with what we got. And then the questions in reviewing the handouts you all have.
Well, I want to tell you, thank you for the job that you are doing.
Thank you.
And I see your work, and I'm glad that we have you, and you have great access to this community, and you have been working. So I want to tell you, thank you from the mayor's office, and we appreciate you, because a lot of things, the traffic stops, the patrol at these schools, from DeSoto to PCDC to Central High School, we seeing to Wall, we seeing police presence, and that's one thing that this community needs. And I want to tell you, thank you publicly for that. Getting to see an officer, the view of an officer, it's good, especially when I take my children to school. I want to tell you, thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you all.
And last, before you leave, I gave you, not your chief, the body. You have, these letters are from the health department. These letters are from the current, from 7/29/22, 6/3/22, 6/3/22, 5/10/22, May 9th, 22, April 21st, 2022, April 1st again, March 17th, 2022, March 15th, February 22nd, 2022, again from September 2nd, 2022, February 2022. Again, these are letters that were received January 9th, 2022, October 21st, 2022, November 16th, 2021, November 9th, 2021, and 12/28/2021. These are letters from the health department, but our water department. I'm gonna get these put on the web. They'll be in the paper to show you all the violations that we had. So with the water department, they are forcing us to do some things in the water department because there was no response from the former administration about all these violations that we have. And they will be on the city website so the public can see all these letters that we got from the last administration that we are now trying to catch up on. Again, thank the city clerk, thank the treasurer, Ms. Coates, the city attorney, and you all for doing the job that you all do. This is not an easy job. We have been left. I'm asking that the administration, we are looking at slowing down because spending, we still have $500,000 worth of bills that we're trying to pay, and plus we're spending and trying to get stuff together in the yard. So if you all are hearing things about us, we are trying with the city treasurer and the clerk, we're trying to pay bills. We're a little slow on paying, but we are paying. We're doing the best we can. I don't want the public to think that we cannot manage, because we are managing the best we can. And with this council and with this administration, we're going to make sure this city looks well. I don't want to have any false hope out there for people. I want people to try to come back to Helena. So the arguing, fuss, and fight, you will not see it here. We're going to address every single bill. The clerk she always sent out a message that we need to halt for a minute, and we listen. The treasurer does the same thing. So we are trying to get this city in a safe place. So thank you all. We will not argue. If you have any questions about anything, the clerk, the treasurer, and I will be happy to help you, because we want people to come to Helena, not run from Helena. So if you have anything that you need to say, please let's not discuss, let's not argue or fight at the table, because we want industry to come here. By that being said, Mr. Attorney.
I wanted to make sure we had all three packets of pictures so we could test those. I have two in my hand.
Here's some.
Yeah,
And again, body, before we all leave, thank you for meeting, thank you for staying, but we are a family here, and I want even the public, if they have any misunderstanding, come on into the house. We'll get you some understanding. We want to make sure that we are a city who's fighting together, not fighting against. So if you have any concerns about the city, City Hall is open. We're even open on weekends if you need us to be. But at this point, I want the public to know that we are trying to be as transparent as we can be. And I want the public to, hey, all the outside rhetoric is fine, but we're trying to get Helena back to where she should be, so industry can come to Helena, so we can have some surplus and not be working backwards. We need industry to come here. We need to clean our city up. We got the citywide cleanup May 6th. I'm looking for the body, you all to come out in big numbers so we and clean our city up and show that we have love for our fellow man in this community. By that being said, Ms. St. Columbia, can you do the honors? I'm sorry, Ms. Miller.
Several people, I think the AKAs contacted me
Yes.
and a couple other groups. They wanted to know, where are we meeting? Are we meeting at a specific place? Or is everybody gonna claim an area and just go
Everybody
there?
can claim the area, and because Mrs. Coates, Mrs. Simpson, and Mrs. Evans will be out to make sure that wherever you choose to be at, somebody will be there. We have a police presence. I'm choosing everywhere. I'm gonna be everywhere because this is something I want to see done. And it's somebody else having a citywide cleanup. And I wish to them, to the public, come out. Let's get involved in getting our city clean. We got people dumping, we're cleaning, we doing everything. And Helena is a big party. Come on out and join us because we're gonna make Helena better than what it was together. Anything else?
One thing we want to emphasize,
No, we're not.
we need those forms turned in so we'll know what areas people are gonna be cleaning up in. So if you communicate that to them and get that to the city, we all would know what we're cleaning up. And to the extent that it may be necessary, maybe we can have some captains for some of those teams to meet the week leading up so we'll know where we'll be.
I was gonna give kudos, department report. This is really helpful.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get these regular.
You'll get, see, that's the thing that we're trying to do. We have department head meetings and what I spend my money and the department head spend their money on we provide lunch. Some council members, you all available on Mondays. We meet at different places. We meet here and I provide lunch with my own money. No city funds are being used. I'm using my own money. I like to use my own money because I want to make sure people understand that I'm giving back in other ways besides collecting a check. Because people think you just collect the check. I'm in the ditches, I'm everywhere. So if anybody wants to come out and be a part of this, it's a new day in Helena. I'm trying to get business to come to Helena. We're looking at healthcare, we're looking at jobs, we're looking at, even with the police department, with the fire department. I'm trying to revamp all these things to make Helena exciting. So if you're not excited, sell your house. We'll find somebody to buy it because we're trying to make Helena exciting for everybody. That's serious now, because I want it to be better. I mean, if you got a gripe, don't gripe here. We're trying to move forward. Ms. St. Columbia, if you will. Thank you so much.